From my recent community post, it seems that most people skipped Jiyan during his first banner in version 1.0, and I don't blame you if you skipped him for Yinlin because Yinlin's character design and her big personalities are enough for you to skip him. Some of you guys might have also been afraid that he would get power creeped very quickly since he's the first dedicated DPS that we had in version 1.0. So this video will help inform you that that's not happening anytime soon. If you skipped him, this video will inform you of what you're missing out on, but if you pulled for him, this video will also go in depth regarding how you can optimize his gameplay for good resonance energy acquisition, quick rotations, and big damage. Jiyan is the perfect definition of Unga Bunga playstyles, and I doubt that we'll ever get a character that's better than him at what he provides. Now before you roast me in the comments, let me explain. Damage dealers in many games are, well, supposed to do damage as the name implies, but there are some other features that should be built in their kit for you to dish out the most damage. And Jiyan has all those features, including ease of playstyle, crowd control, AoE damage, and brain dead parry playstyle. But like every character in the game, he has some cons as well. His kit is not well made for solo playstyles because his intro generates half of his forte bar, which is what you need to deal big nuke damage from his forte, so it incentivizes you to always play him in a team because you'll be wasting time doing basic attacks to recover forte stacks while playing solo. He relies on his liberation to do majority of his damage, so overworld exploration and farming might become annoying since the enemies die way too fast while your liberation is still active. And lastly, inefficient resonance energy acquisition if you don't optimize his rotations. In this video, I'll be talking about why Jiyan's simplicity is his best feature, team availability, optimized rotations for guaranteed liberations, and how you can do more damage during his liberation by using dash cancels. Like I do in all of my character breakdown videos, I'm not only going to show you why everyone should have Jiyan, but I'm also going to provide solutions to his cons or disadvantages so that you can enjoy him as much as you want. If this video proves helpful or useful to you in any way, then don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps me out tremendously. Jiyan's simplicity is one of the things that makes him stand out when compared to other DPS characters in the game because you need two things to make him dish out damage, which are full resonance energy and an intro skill. The rest is basically button spamming to do damage. His skill and basic attacks in his liberation are the most reliable brain dead ways of parrying incoming attacks per my testing, which gets rid of the need for the player to learn complex parry timings. While characters like Jinshi demand specific 5-star units like Jeji and Yinlin on her team to provide coordinated attacks for filling her forte gauge, all that Jiyan needs is Mortefi, a 4-star unit who provides heavy attack buff from his outro skill since Jiyan's basic attack in his liberation are considered heavy attack damage. Mortefi being a 4-star character also makes it easier to get his S6, which buffs all team members' attack by 20% after casting his liberation. Now this is where you might say that Jinshi also has Yuanwu as a 4-star option for providing coordinated attacks, but Yuanwu does a really bad job of generating concerto energy for casting quick outro skills, which helps in energy acquisition for the next character that enters the field. This is something that Mortefi excels at, helping other characters in the team who suffers from energy issues. On top of that, relying on only Yuanwu in a Jinshi team to provide coordinated attacks feels hectic sometimes because the enemy can move out of Yuanwu's circle, so you have to chase them down and put down another circle. These are major reasons why you might want to pull for limited characters like Jeji and Yinlin for ease of playstyle in a Jinshi team. Jiyan, on the other hand, does not suffer from any of these issues when you take his easy accessible teams in consideration, which includes Verena and Mortefi. Another thing that makes Mortefi a must-have in a Jiyan team is the fact that he can use his normal skill and forte skill multiple times in one rotation, helping Jiyan acquire roughly 50% of the energy that Mortefi gets whilst he is on the field, which increases Jiyan's energy acquisition even from off-field. When fighting mob-type enemies in the tower, one of the most painful things that can happen to your DPS character is not having any means of grouping enemies, which Jiyan excels at. He's undoubtedly the best grouper that we currently have in the game. Keep in mind that you always need to target characters that keeps their distance, like the Fractidus enemy that carries a missile launcher. Prioritizing your attacks on him will let the other enemies come to you, which you can then use to pull them together and deal big damage to them at the same time due to Jiyan's wide AoE damage capability. Jiyan heavily relies on his intro skill for generating forte stacks and his liberation for doing majority of his damage, so carefully optimizing your rotations to ensure that you can recover more energy solves his biggest problem, which can help you deal damage quickly as possible when you're up against enemies in the tower or hologram bosses. counters. I'll be showing you how I don't run into energy issues with just 116 energy regen, which I got from only substats. I'll be using the middle hazard zone in the Tower of Adversity as an example. Every character has 0 concerto energy in the beginning, so what I like to do is to get the Verena outro and swap to Jiyan while skipping Mortefi's outro buff. I'll walk you through it step by step. What I like to do is to use her liberation and skill. If you're up against aggressive enemies like Inferno Rider, you can use his attacks to trigger dodge counters, which makes you generate stacks much faster by making Verena start her basic attacks from the 3rd stage. When you obtain 2 stacks, swap to Jiyan and use a skill and echo. The monkey echo has a long animation, so you have to cancel it perfectly to gain the full buff. What you should do to make that happen is to swap back to Verena as soon as you hear the first hiss sound effect of the monkey echo. This will allow you to get the full buff that the echo provides and prevent you from being stuck in midair after the second attack if you swap after the second hit attack. Jump and use basic attacks with Verena to fully fill her forte gauge. Then swap back to Jiyan to cast his intro and use his liberation. While in his liberation, make sure to use his skill whenever it's available to you to help with resonance energy acquisition. If you do this correctly, you can use his skill twice in his damage window, one during his liberation mode and another one when his liberation ends. As you can see, my resonance energy gauge is almost half filled, which is a good sign you did it correctly. Then swap to Mortefi so that you can recover a bit of concerto energy with his intro. Use his skill and then swap between Verena and Mortefi if the boss is not actively attacking you, because doing so allows each of them to start their basic attacks from the 3rd stage, which helps recover a significant amount of concerto energy. During the swaps, be sure to use their skills if it's available to you. As soon as Verena gains enough stacks that can fully fill her concerto energy, jump and use her basic attacks to fully fill her concerto energy. Then swap to Jiyan because the intro can help with his resonance energy acquisition. Use his skill and then use his echo just like I previously explained to help cancel the echo animation. Then swap back to Mortefi, use his skill, liberation, and do some basic attacks to fully fill his concerto energy and then swap back to Jiyan. If you have S6 Mortefi, try to delay your liberation a bit to allow Jiyan to enjoy the full buff uptime, so I suggest that you always use it when Mortefi's concerto energy is about 75% full. This rotation guarantees that Jiyan's liberation will be available to you every rotation while having all your buffs at the same time. Now let's look at how you can do more damage during his liberation. If you look at the scalings on his liberation, you can tell that the scalings on the 1st stage is relatively higher than the 2nd stage, and the difference between the 1st stage and the 3rd stage is not that high, so you can use some dash cancels to cancel the last hit animation of the 1st stage and basically do the 1st stage attack in a loop. How you can do this properly is to always keep your eyes on the green dragon. The dragon will circle around you twice. The second one will be your cue to dash and then attack again. The second cue that you can use to dash properly is when Jiyan lands on the ground after casting the 1st stage attack. Dashing correctly at this time will allow the dragon to hit 8 times just as it would if you were doing the normal spam attacks. It will take some time to get used to it, but it will become muscle memory with enough practice. That covers everything for Jiyan. Let me know if I missed anything. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.
So please whatever.